At a beach resort, we see a couple walking hand in hand, dressed in beach clothing. The female comments that the beach is beautiful, and the man tells her that his uncle had just recently opened the beach, and that the sands on the beach are all from the Hainan Island. He tells her that it's the best beach that can be found in Binhai. And besides, the beach hasn't been opened to the public yet, so they're the first people to visit the beach. The female quickly takes off her clothing, and with her bikini on, she runs towards the water while telling the man that they should go swim. The man replies, telling her that he didn't come with his swimwear, while the woman goes into the water and tells the man that she too isn't wearing any swimsuit as she takes off her bikinis. She raises up her panties and with her back towards the man, tells him that if he likes, she could lend him her panties. The man off at the sides replies that her panties couldn't size him and then starts laughing lecherously. Quickly, the woman in the water starts shouting, flailing her hands while screaming for help. Around her, the water has taken a shade of red, as a result of blood mixing with the water. The man quickly gets up on hearing her cries. He shouts her name Ozawa and immediately starts running towards her while telling her to hold on that he's coming. As he gets to the spot where the woman had been, he only finds water mixed with blood and with the woman nowhere to be seen as she has already been pulled away by what had attacked her. The man starts to search around, stirring the water as he calls for her, telling her to come out and that he's getting angry already while calling her name Ozawa. From underneath him in the water, we see someone with pale hands moving towards him quickly. Immediately bursts out of the water, two women who look deranged and malnourished with black veins curling all over their bodies with disheveled hair and grotesque faces. As they come out of the water, they lunge at the man, biting him and tearing off chunks of flesh from his body. The man lets out a shriek of pain as the women who have been zombified quickly starts tearing him apart. And in no time we see the scene return to silence with only blood mixed with water left at the scene, a testament to what had happened. At the same time in the urban district of Binhai inside of a public bus, we see the news on the television inside of the bus reporting that the aurora has appeared in many parts of the world, and that there has been some strange things happening due to the solar flare radiation. The news continues that the solar flare can even be observed with the naked eyes in some part of the world. Meanwhile, at a corner inside the bus, our boy Wong is sweating profusely as he complains that he can't hold it anymore and that he needs to find a place quickly after the bus ride. He thinks to himself that if he is to take a shit for 10 minutes every day, then he can profit 40 hours a year. At the same time, he thinks that he needs to hold it in until he gets to the office, because then he can write it off his office hours and urges the bus to hurry. The scene moves to Wong's office and we see him bolting past his colleagues, quickly heading towards the restroom as he tells them to make way. Half an hour later, he comes out feeling relieved. And just then, he hears someone shouting his name, telling him that the boss is looking for him. Our boy quickly replies back that he's coming. At the boss's office, we hear him asking the boss what he means by getting rid of him. As he points towards the boss, he says that he's being accused of molesting a female colleague and that the boss is trying to frame him. He asks the boss if he should tell everyone what he has been doing. The boss grips his shirt while telling him that he's right and that he's being framed. He accuses Wong of stealing resources from his computer and that he can actually report him to the police. Wong gets frightened that he has been caught and shakeningly tells the boss that it's bullshit and asks why he would steal from him and immediately denies that he has never stolen any resources. The boss then pulls out some files and tells him that he actually has proof of Wong molesting the female colleague, and tells him that the file is a resignation letter from one of their former female employees, and that it states that Wong had been molesting her. Wong takes the files and looks through it. He immediately starts to shake and with great difficulty was able to say that he hasn't molested anyone at all, and that they're setting him up. The boss sits on his chair, crosses his legs and lights up a cigarette. He shows Wong 2 fingers and tells him that he has 2 choices. The first is for him to tell the company what he has pilfered, and by molesting those female colleagues that he has earned quite the notorious reputation, and that he might even go to jail. While the second choice is that Wong doesn't say a word, but should resign and disappear from the company and they will also forget what has happened too. Wong grits his teeth and becomes frustrated. He falls on the couch in the office while holding his head as he tells the boss that he chooses the second choice. The scene shifts to the center of Binhai at the International Council District. We see a female MC calling the next speaker as she tells the people there to welcome who Jia ran to the stage as we see a man striding forward. Down at the audience seat we see Yang Jing clapping with a smile on her face as she looks happy. After the end of the event, we see Han Jie standing with a man in front of a press conference as the cameras are taking their pictures. Han Jie and the man shake hands and the man tells him that they should have a prosperous cooperation together, with Han saying yes. Yang Jing walks up to Han Ran and asks him if the man just now was Niu Tiankong, and Han answers yes, that they're going to be working together soon. Yang Jing gets excited as she says that it's her first time seeing him in the flesh. She thanks Han for inviting her to the summit, and Han tells her that he's very happy to have been able to assist her. Complimenting him, Yang Jing tells him that he was very enchanting when he was up on the stage while giving his lectures. She tells him that the one she had known from the university wasn't like that, and she's very curious about what happened. Han tells her that when he had graduated from the university, his dad had taken him to a business school in Columbia, but he has very little interest in business as he has always preferred philosophy, and since then, he knew how to pave his path. The scene shifts to the district of Wang's rented house and we hear a dog barking unceasingly. The camera moves into a room where a picture of an old man hugging a dog is hanging on the wall. Just then we see a dog barking agitatedly as it moves back trying to get away from someone. The person happens to be the elderly man in the picture frame we just saw. The old man, having turned into a zombie with his hands stretched out towards the dog, quickly pounces on it and starts biting its mouth, spilling blood all over the room. And in no time, the dog lays on the floor dead in a pool of blood. Just outside the door of the room we see our boy Wang, who is just returning after being coerced by his boss to resign from his work office. Standing there shocked as he has just gotten a sudden dreadful ominous feeling just after arriving. He wonders to himself what had happened in the house as the premonition he's getting is scary. Gritting his teeth out of fear, he comments that if he remembers correctly, then the house should belong to an old man and thinks maybe he has passed away. He quickly runs up the stairs as he shouts fuck, that even the daughter of the old man is not even visiting him. Then why should he care? And besides, he has to quickly think of a way to get a new job as he's already running out of money. The scene shifts to a traffic, and inside one of the buses in the traffic, we see our boy Wang watching the news, with the news anchor reporting that there has been a new mutation of the common influenza virus detected, and the Ministry of Public Health is urging everyone to take the necessary precautions with a pre-hazard warning of level red. She says that the officers and men of the National Army, National Police, and National Security are ensuring the safety of the general public. So bus operators and medical personnel are to take the compulsory vaccine against the new mutation. Just then, besides Wang, we see an old man starts coughing while Wang thinks to himself that there's news about the flu again and complains that there's no room inside of the bus. He prays silently to himself that the interview that he's going to go smoothly this time. He gets a flashback of his time with Director Chow inside of his office the day before. Director Chow tells him that the resources were not complete and that they're completely useless. He tells Wang that if he had wanted to earn something, then he should have gotten everything at the same time, folding his hands behind his head. Our boy Wang shouts back as he tells Director Chow that he has already been fired and asks him what he means by everything. He says that the director had told him that the USB wouldn't leave any evidence behind, and then asks him how his boss had known that he had stolen something at the same time, accusing the director of having tricked him. He brings out 2 fingers towards the director and tells him that he has been driven into a corner by him, and now he doesn't have anything else to lose, so he tells the director that he's going to give him 2 choices. The first option is that he'll make the incident into a scandal and tarnish his reputation with it, or the second option is that the director will give him some compensation or get him a job. Besides, his wage shouldn't be any less than his last job. The director pulls out a card and tells him that if that's the case, then he'll introduce him to his friend's company, and that the company is big, even bigger than his own. Wang takes the card and looks at it, seeing the name of the company to be Kasai Telecom. He comments that the name sounds familiar, but since that's the case, then he'll trust the director this once. Back to the bus, we see the old man coughing get severe as he falls to the ground beside Wang. Quickly, our boy Wang lifts his hands up as he says that he didn't do anything, while the people around point at him with someone asking if anyone knows first aid. Wang says that there's nothing to be scared of as there are many witnesses around, and besides, there won't be anything happening. We see someone bends down to help the old man while saying he'll act as a witness, while someone from behind says that the elder had fallen next to Wang, so it's his responsibility. Wang gets angry as he immediately asks, "Who said that?" when he suddenly gets an ominous feeling, cutting his words short. Just then the elder wakes up but had already turned into a zombie. Wang immediately shifts away due to the vibe he's getting. On seeing this, the woman who was helping the elder comments that Wang is unbelievable and that he doesn't have any respect for the elderly. Her words are stopped as the old zombified man immediately bites her fingers, which leads the woman to scream and pull her hand back, which results in her losing 4 of her fingers to the mouth of the zombified elder. As the scene shifts outside the Keisai Intercom main building, we see Yang Jing standing there asking Hao Ran why he had called her outside, as she still needs to get back to work. Hao Ran confesses to her that he'd liked her for a very long time and asks if she would be his girlfriend, while holding a bouquet of flowers. Yang Jing tells him that she already has a boyfriend, but quickly, Hao Ran moves closer to her, telling her that if a man's affection is shown by squeezing inside a bus to get around with his girl, blaming his girl for not being able to make it to dinner, complain about his boss to his girl, and only sends a message to his girl when she's sick, then she doesn't deserve to be with someone like that. He tells her that he'll drive her with his car, he'll be with her when she's sick, he'll eat dinner with her, and he'll tell her that she doesn't have to worry about work. He says that he doesn't think our boy Wang was able to do all those things for her. Yang Jing remains silent for some time and picks up her call to call Wang. She tells Hao Ran that she'll call Wang one more time, and if he picks up her call, then they're still meant to be together. But if he doesn't pick up, then stop speaking, as the meaning is already clear. Hao tells her to go ahead and call him while saying that it's unbelievable that she's such a dedicated person. As Yang Jing starts to call our boy Wang, the line remains silent before the system voice tells her that the number she has dialed is currently unavailable. Yang Jing asks to borrow Hao Ran's phone, which he gave to her, and she uses it to call Wang again, but still received the same system voice of the number not being available. She drops her hands and stands still for a while, looking disappointed, until Hao Ran called out to her. With that, she turns to him and tells him that she accepts becoming his girlfriend. Hao Ran immediately pulls her in for a hug, as he tells her that he's so happy, and that he knew that they were meant to be. Yang Jing starts to cry on his shoulders, and as she opens her eyes, she sees our boy Wang standing behind them, just some few steps away, silently looking at her. High up in space at the space station Heavenly Palace, we see 3 astronauts who are shocked, with one of them saying that the instruments are unexpectedly indicating that the solar flare has reached 20 million degrees Celsius. Another of the astronauts says that it's a level X solar flare and that the solar flare is approaching Earth. The last person looking out the window tells his colleagues that the solar flare is about to make contact with the surface of Earth. And outside of space, we see the sun intensely releasing solar flares towards the Earth. While in the Earth, the skies are filled with aurora light. The people below on the streets are mesmerized by the scene, with someone commenting that it's beautiful as they gaze up at the sky. People quickly crowd around and start looking up at the sky filled with the auroras, with someone saying that they're really rare to see, and a woman holding a child comments that it's so pretty. Besides them, a man comments that he can die peacefully now after seeing such a sight. Just then, Zombie starts running towards the group. A man looking and playing with his child in his mother's hands gets his face bitten off as the baby suddenly turned into a zombie. Someone with a camera had their lens covered by the hand of a zombie as the zombie jumps and bites her scalp. Meanwhile, the man who had just commented that he can die peacefully after seeing the auroras gets bitten on his shoulder by a zombie, thereby releasing a scream filled with pain. The scene immediately descends into chaos as zombies are seen everywhere attacking people. A woman is pinned to the ground by a zombie as she calls him a pervert who attacks women and tells him to get off of her. The zombie ignores her, biting and pulling her hair with his mouth, with one of his fingers piercing the right eye of the woman. During the struggle, the woman was able to pull out one of the eyes of the zombie, which is left dangling on his face. At the scene, we see a police officer being assaulted by a zombie as he tries to hold him off. His arm gets bitten by the zombie, which leads the officer to scream, telling him to stop biting. As the scene shifts, we see chaos descend all around on the streets. People are fighting off zombies, and zombies are pining others to the ground, devouring them, with some people even jumping out of high-rise buildings in order to commit suicide and end their plights. As the scene shifts on the same night, we see Director Chow driving in his Bentley as he coughs. He's sweating profusely while on a call as he tells the other person on the phone that he'll let them handle the matter and that they'll follow through the original plan. He says he definitely won't let that bloke set a foot in Binhai while referring to our boy Wong. He tells the person on the phone that he's on the way now so they can discuss about the project and ends the call with a coughing fit. As the vehicle drives on the road, we see it start to rain, and inside of the car, Director Chow starts to mumble incoherently while the driver asks him to repeat himself once more. The director doesn't respond but instead pounces on the driver and bites off his face. The vehicle driving on the road immediately loses control due to no one controlling the steering and immediately collides head-on with a truck coming from the opposite lane, thereby causing a deadly accident. Aerial view shows that the city has descended into chaos and people are running around with zombies chasing them. Over at Wong's house, we see our boy holding a bottle of beer being drunk as he says that just after he had graduated that he had a job interview, and Yang Jing had nothing to do so she came along with him, and guess what? She got the job without being called for an interview while he, who had gone for the interview, was brushed aside. He says that that had been the reason why the Keisai intercom sounded so fucking familiar, that it's the office where Yang Jing works. He screams as he says that he had totally forgotten that she was working there. Just then he shouts saying, "Yang Jing, you're being unfair to me. You're being unfaithful towards your husband. You went with some damn rich dude. I wasn't born with a golden spoon. I can't help it that I ain't rich. Colleagues are bullying me. My boss is framing me, and what's worse, you have betrayed me with that venting." He immediately puts the bottle cap into his mouth, chugging down the contents as he comments that the situation stinks so much. Holding up his phone, he says he'll call Yang Jing and tell her his mind if she picks up. Seems like the heavens are not on his side as all he heard is the system voice that tells him that the number he's dialing is unavailable. Our boy immediately bursts out crying and says to the phone that he's sorry and that it's all his fault. He says he misses her and promises to always listen to her from now on, and that he's also going to earn a lot of money. He falls to the ground while muttering money, and immediately falls asleep due to the alcohol in him. The next morning finally arrives and our boy has woken up looking paler than the zombies on the streets. He sits on the chair looking so weak like he's about to die as he weakly says, "Oh my fucking, I drank way too much. My head hurts, my stomach hurts and I'm dizzy. It's Yang Jing's fault. It's so loud outside. My neighbors have no manners," completely oblivious to what's happening around. Just then a girl with a disfigured face covered with blood hits his windows calling out to him to save her. Our boy gets so shocked that he falls to the ground screaming. Full of fear, he asks what's happening as he's shaking on the ground out of fear. The girl at the window immediately gets tackled to the ground by a zombie that immediately starts tearing her apart. Our boy shrieks so loud like a girl while frantically asking what the fuck is this shit. He quickly goes to the window and looks down at the scene while bringing out his phone to call the police. Immediately dialing the number, he quickly starts yelling over the phone that someone got killed and that they're getting eaten. But the response he gets is the automatic voice telling him that the line is currently in use, which shocks him greatly. He quickly decides to call 120, but the system also tells him that the line is in use. Quickly he dials 119, 114 and tried calling all of them, but the response is still the same. He's surprised as he's unable to call any of the lines and wonders if his phone is broken. Just outside of his door, he hears his neighbor telling his wife that they don't need some of the items that she's carrying. Wong quickly decides to go meet them and ask them for help, as he runs towards the door while shouting that someone is dead. He meets his neighbors and they recount what is happening to him. Disbelieving, he asks them what they mean by zombies, and asks them if they meant that the person who has just died at his window was also a zombie. The wife of his neighbor tells him yes, that she means the zombies who are walking corpses. Wong calls them crazy, and tells them that zombies only appear in American movies. The woman tells him to go see for himself while her husband comments that they're all terrorists, and that it's a plot orchestrated by the Americans. Wong asks them where they're going as the man is seen carrying a heavy load on his shoulders. The wife who's holding their baby replies to him that they're going to her parents' house, to which the husband adds that the armed forces are near them, so it's safe there. Wong then asks them if they can help him call the officials as he thinks his phone is broken. The couple walk past Wong and the husband tells him not to bother, that the officials are unreachable now at this time. As they walk away, Wong scoffs at them and goes into his apartment while calling them maniacs, and says that they definitely have a few screws loose in their heads. He comments that maybe the old man he had met in the bus yesterday was also a zombie before laughing at his silliness as zombies only appear in movies. Deciding to see for himself, he walks towards the window to take a look. Just as he got there, he immediately falls back to the ground and starts shaking due to fear with his legs no longer responding to his commands and his body has stopped moving. Shakeningly, he comments that what the couple had told him was the truth and that this is the end. He decides to go have another look, but his legs are numb and he's unable to get up. He slaps his face multiple times while thinking that it is all an illusion and that he's dreaming as the country still exists, and so does the government, so he needs to put his trust in them. With a little cry and a slapped-filled face, he comments that the slaps hurt and that he hadn't been dreaming at all. But with the slaps, his head has been cleared a little. Our boy takes a deep breath and with the support of the wall, he was able to stand up as he comments that if he had used this method back then he would have been able to get into the Tsinghua University, which is a very high-ranking university. Managing to walk some feet forwards, he hears a piercing scream from down below and quickly turns back towards the window. As he looks out the window, he asks what's happening and sees that his neighbors that he had just met have gotten surrounded by zombies who are devouring them. Down below, the couple with their child are pressed to the ground as zombies climb over themselves and starts tearing the family of three apart. The zombies, having finished devouring the couple and their child, turn their hands towards Wong upstairs. Our boy swallows and immediately crouches down to the floor. He screams that it's too dangerous there and that he's going to go look for the police as he supports himself with his hands on the ground. Quickly he starts to crawl forward as his legs had stopped obeying him. And as he gets to the door, our boy stops and thinks to himself that if he goes out that he's going to be killed the same way his neighbors were killed just now. So staying in his apartment is safer than going out. He sits in the sofa and turns on the television, wondering maybe the news will tell him something. As the news comes on, we hear the female anchor say that the World Health Organization has stated that the new H3N8 virus is a type A virus, and that it is a subject of the community known as the influenza virus. They advise everyone to stay at home and not go to crowded places. Wong comments to himself that the news is yesterday's news. Just then he hears a noise outside and quickly gets up to go check it out. On getting to the window, he sees some helicopters flying over his building and immediately, he starts to shout and wave his hands towards them while telling them to save him, that he's in the building. But the helicopter fly past just as fast as they came, leading our boy to push his body out of the window and wave frantically, trying to get their attention while telling them not to leave. He cusses fuck, as they didn't hear his call for help at all. Standing with a lonely back view, he says that he needs to think of a way to make other people notice that he's still there. Turning around, he's surprised to find that his TV has lost connection with Binhai News and quickly changes the channel to CCTV. On the news, we hear the female anchor say that the country has entered into a tense state since the biochemical terrorist attacks still haven't ceased yet, and that they're advising everyone to keep calm and stay at home to wait for help. Also, they can go to their city's local shelter, and to find out where it is, they should please watch the news. Wong places his phone to his ear to make a call and finds that all the local lines are already out of service. With that, he decides to try calling all the numbers on his phone once more, as there'll definitely be someone whose phone will be reachable. But he's disappointed as no line was connected, which leads him to cover his face and start crying, as he thinks that on New Year Eve nothing was out of the ordinary. Maybe everything is over now. He thinks that he had wanted to die a solitary death at home, but at this rate he's going to become a mummy. He goes to the sink to wash his face as he shouts to himself that he definitely cannot let that happen. As he looks at himself in the mirror, he comments that staying at home is the safest and that there's someone coming to save him, but wonders how he should let other people know that he's still in his apartment. Quickly, our boy pulls out his white bedsheet and takes out his pens, but comments that they won't be enough. Putting the sheets on the ground, he writes on it and stands up to find that the strokes are too thin, and if someone's further away, they wouldn't be able to read it. He says that if only he has paint, and wonders what he can use to replace the ink before thinking about soy sauce. With that, he quickly takes out the soy sauce and pours it on the sheet. With that done, he takes it out and hangs it on his balcony and goes into his kitchen to get a bowl and a large spoon. With the bowl in his left hand and the spoon on the right, he'll be able to make a lot of noise if the police come around again, and with that they should be able to hear him as he runs towards the window. Just then an helicopter flies over and our boy starts banging on his bowl while calling out to them to look below that he's there. The scene shifts to the Public Security Bureau in the new business district. We see a female police officer knocking on the door of an office. And within the office we see a male police officer on a phone call, cussing someone bullshit while calling them a disgrace to forensic scientists. The female police officer stands before the male officer calling him chief and tells him that there's been a riot at the National Police, and that there are a lot of people who are sick there, so they're running short on personnel. She tells him that they won't be able to come over to assist them. On hearing this, the chief shouts "What?" and asks why can't there be any good news. Due to his agitation, he immediately covers his mouth and starts coughing and falls on the table while holding a glass of water. A closer look on his arm shows that there's a wound which has been bandaged covered with blood. Immediately, he gets up and lunges at the female police officer, grabbing her and pinning her to the ground in a thought-provoking posture. Back at Wong's house, we see the bowl on the floor with a hole in the middle. Our boy sits dejectedly on the ground with his head buried on his legs as he thinks that despite making so much noise that his bowl even broke, yet they still didn't notice him. He thinks to himself that there's a huge blanket hanging outside with his distress signal, so he had thought that with that, the police just now would be his rescue, but he was wrong. So he decides to wait and see how it turns out. He lifts his head and comments that it's so quiet and asks why there's no noise coming from his television anymore. Getting to where the TV is, he holds his head as he shouts saying, "My God, when did the power get cut off? Crap, if my power line got cut off then that also means that my water line has also ceased working." He says that he needs to quickly save water. Some minutes later, and we see him sitting on the ground dejectedly as he was only able to get a half bucket of water before the tap stopped running. He comments that he can only go on for 3 days without water and wonders how long the half bucket can last him, so it really looks like he's done for. As nighttime arrives and inside of Wong's house, we see him on the bed covering his ears as he complains that the noise from the zombies is too loud and even closing his windows doesn't help with the noise. Just then he hears someone screaming, and he quickly gets up to go check. Just as he gets to the window, he sees a man falling from above him with the wife screaming. As the man falls to the ground, his head immediately bursts open like a ripe watermelon and the zombies around quickly crowd around him, with some running over from the distance as they quickly start to devour his body. Our boy Wong is shocked by the ordeal as he asks himself why the man had jumped. He says that it's so easy to die and that it shouldn't hurt. Besides, it looks like the man had died on impact, and dying is better than hearing those horrifying sounds. With that, he opens the window and steps on the sills as he comments that if he dies then he won't have to experience the awful feelings anymore. Sitting shakeningly on the ledge, he says that if he dies then he won't be hungry or thirsty anymore, and besides he's hopeless now anyway, so dying is the only option.